everybody, it's me, GhostCritic, back for another Thursday Retro Comic Rewind. For anyone who has just come across me, this is where I give you the opportunity to pick a comic book for me to read. The instructions for that will be at the end of the video. Please read them carefully. Last week I chose Minutia Minute to pick a comic book for me this week, and I shall put a description link to his channel down below because he does some great videos. He went away for a while, we all got worried, we thought he was never going to come back, and now he has, and he's putting out videos again, which we're all very grateful for. He chose the letter X, and fortunately he picked the number 559, which was the second to last X title that I had in my long box, so I didn't have to go and trawl through loads of comics. Given that it was an X, it was a high percentage chance that it was going to be a mutant variety title. I'm just glad it was something a little bit more fun and not necessarily steeped in X lore. It was X-Statix, issue 25, which was actually the penultimate issue of this series. Written by Milligan with artwork by Allred. This was fun to read. For those of you who aren't aware of X-Statix, they kind of came out of the original run of X-Force, and they were definitely a very different team than had gone through the whole of the X-Force run, which annoyed quite a lot of people because this was a very drastic change in style and tone. Eventually X-Force run out, but the team that was at the end of X-Force carried on to X-Statix. Unfortunately, in the first issue of X-Statix, Milligan practically killed the whole team off and developed a new team for this title. X-Statix was Milligan's basically way of kind of poking fun, a little bit of satirical commentary on like media superstars and kind of reality TV stars and the like, but put it into a mutant context. As you can see from the cover here, there's that dreaded A word, Avengers. Yes, it was X-Statix versus Avengers, and this was the final part of a 4-part story arc, which started off with Dupe, our little green man here. His brain exploded and got scattered across far and wide, and it was up to the X-Statix team to go and collect it back to save Dupe. Unfortunately, the American government weren't happy about X-Statix having this supposedly Dupe's great power, so sent off the Avengers to also collect these pieces of Dupe's brain. So we had the Anarchist versus Captain America. Captain America won that one. Dead Girl versus Scarlet Witch. Dead Girl won that one. Vivisector had a bit of a punch up with Hawkeye. Venus de Milo went up against Ant-Man and won. And Mr. Sensitive of our X-Statix team went up against Iron Man, and who technically won, but him being Mr. Sensitive gave the piece of brain to Iron Man. So at this point, the Avengers team had 3 parts of Dupe's brain, while the X-Statix team only had 2. This was the final piece. This was the big showdown. It was Dupe versus Thor. And it's hilarious. It takes place in Valhalla. And it's kind of funny because Dupe's trademark is that you can't understand what he says. Although I believe there is some sort of kind of like dictionary, not a dictionary, what do you call them? it transposes his language into English, but in the comics it's always in Doop's kind of alien type language. But for some reason, about halfway through the fight, he actually starts talking in English, and in a aping basically Thor's style. So it's all ending in fuzz and prithee these and etc. Big booming voices. At one point Doop actually swallows Thor's hammer and then churns out about 50, so Thor does not know which one is his true hammer. And while all this fighting is going on, causing, you know, earthquakes and the like, it starts to awaken the Fatal Sisters, who think the kind of like the last war has come and they are awakening to go into battle. Of course, it's only Thor and Doop having a bit of a tussle. So this leads to the Avengers having to team up with X-Statix, and just as you think you're going to get this huge amazing fight with these two superhero teams against these supposedly very dangerous Fatal Sisters, they kind of get cold feet, and it's like, we're not actually going to go up against 13 superheroes. I think we'll go back to sleep and wait for the next time a big war happens. And it's just kind of funny the way that's played out. At the end of it, despite the fact that, you know, they've kind of all banded together against one big baddie kind of thing, they still end up arguing and fighting at the end. And it's not until Mr. Sensitive makes like an impassioned speech that, you know, maybe the Avengers are best suited to look after Doop, given that he is so dangerous. But then it kind of turns round and Captain America goes, that was a kind of a great speech. Thank you for doing that. We believe you can look after Doop now. There's a lot of like toing and froing, but unfortunately the comic ends with our X-Statix team deciding to disband. This was the penultimate issue. There was one more to go, and you'll have to go out and buy that, or maybe somewhere along down the line someone will pick this comic out in the next Retro Comic Rewind and find out if the team stuck together or not. Great book, lots of fun. Like I said, I'm glad it wasn't just a stuffy X-Men book that I had to read that was just silly but for all the wrong reasons. This was fun. Thank you very much, Minutia Minute, for picking the letter and the number for this week. Now it's someone else's turn. Remember, watch the end of this video to find out how you can pick next week's comic book. Until then, bye bye.